Ahoy there, I'm Tiny Pirate. Welcome back to Factorio. Today is going to be the last episode of the series because I have other things to do. And I think we've done a lot with this one so far, so we're going to whiz through quite a few things in today's episode. If you've never played Factorio before, this should be interesting to see some of the end game bits and bobs. And if you have played Factorio before, I hope you'll stick around anyway. So the first thing that I've done just while I was off air is fix up a little bit of the copper demand by putting a little tap in from over this copper feed. We still don't have enough copper flowing, so we do need to set up a little copper outpost. The second thing I've done is sort out a jam in our science production. Turns out some of these lines here were getting a little jammed up, so I picked up and moved all the science around. But look at that, 6 piles of science just burning through. Blue is going to suffer, and that's because of a shortage of chips, basically, and that's because of a shortage of copper, so we can fix that pretty promptly. I'm getting the logistic system going, and that will give us requested chests and passive provider chests and buffer chests. That will make some of the logistic work a little easier. Like, for example, I will change this from a passive provider chest to, I don't know, maybe a buffer chest or something, which means it can be used for storage and it can be used to provide stuff. Next thing, fusion. So we'll get that researching. But more importantly, I need to set up a copper outpost, and I'm going to do that probably on that patch there. I'm trying to decide, I might just take this line up and dovetail off it just to reduce the to and fro pressure on this line here. So it's time to head out to the train and go out there. And well, I better make sure I've got enough of the goods I need first. Once I've done that, it'll be time to party. So I've started to set up the lines because what I want to do is to make sure I have enough room for everything. So 1, 2, 3, 4 lines already down, and hopefully I have, well, probably don't. There's a lot of miners here. Hopefully we have enough miners to pick up the other 3, because I want 7 or 8. 8 I think is my ideal. I actually don't even know if I'm going to be able to fit them all in, which is a bit of a shame. I'm just going to plot them out. That was whatever that was. Plus a little bit over here. Yeah, we might be okay. So that was like another 3, and I think I can probably fit 1 more in or 2 more in, or I'll just build some kind of balancer. Wow, this is super confusing. Orange on orange with orange. Okay, let's just get this all set up. Once I've got my 8 lines set up, it's time to set up the station. And honestly, that station building is one of the most fun, well, one of the things I enjoy the most about Factorio is logistics and trains. Belts are pretty good, but train stations, I don't know, it's just fun. I find it even more fun than in games dedicated to trains, and I'm not quite sure why that is. Just special that way, I suppose. So I'll just lay out some power for these guys. And then it's time to crack on, finish up these routes, and to check how it would be for the station. I suspect we're going to have to do a kind of a crossing over like we have done at a couple of the other stations to make everything work, crossing over the track. But that's fine, we can manage that. We're very clever Factorioians, aren't we? The answer is yes, yes we are. Okay, we've got 8 rows of miners set up and 1 kind of bent one just to keep throughput up, and that means it's time to look at what's going to happen with trains. What I actually want to happen is for trains to come off, do a loop, and then to use the on-ramp here when they exit, which means we'll do one of those crossovers that I enjoy so much. Now, is it this way? Let me just think. No, it's this one here. That's right. So, and where are we going to put it? I suspect that there will be fine. Let me just double check. Is that gonna? Yes. So I think we can get rid of that second signal there. And all the other signals are fine except this. Oh, that one must be in the way, hence the broken track. So let me just fix that up. Okay, so that's good. So now what we have to do is basically just run this out here and figure out. Oh, we might as well take it all the way over, got enough room. Cool. And then figure out here what track we're going to use, or what station. So, oh, station book. So we're going to go for 2 car, 4 car, left. Are we loading on the left, 4 car left? I think we are. Yeah, I want to move it over a little bit so that I don't bump too much into the river over there. So somewhere around about here is probably fine. We'll go with that. Which means we've now got to bring everything over. That's fine, I guess. We can do that very elegantly by... where are we? We'll do it like this. We should be able to figure it out this way. I like elegance in my track or my belt line. I don't think I've got it yet. I don't have the perfect kind of ice cream cone look that you get. I think that's what people call it. So it's going to be like that. And this will hopefully give us everything we need. So that should be a metric proverbial of copper. I don't think we're going to have any copper issues back at base. And that is good. So I'm going to let this get all set it up myself. And then we'll enjoy setting up the next part, the stations and the route, as well as the facility back home, because we do need to ship this copper into the production system itself. We've got the station nicely set up now, so it's time to sort out the other piece of the puzzle, the one that goes like this. And because I'm a neat freak, I'm going to try and put it... Actually, first of all, I'm going to just remove that signal and that signal. And then I'm going to put it right about here, which I am trusting will do the job and allow us to stack some trains as required. I'm not 100% confident of that, but I'm relatively confident, and I'll take that any day of the week. Boom, that's one loop. We want another one to sort of dovetail off around about here. It probably doesn't need to be... even this feels a little extreme. I don't think it needs to be quite this much. We'll put in a second little cut through like this for the engineering train. And I suspect that's about done. I kind of feel like it would be beneficial if I worked out a few designs for high and low density stations. Because as you can see, if you use a little curve here like this, you can potentially fit a ton of stations in. If you use like a full 90-degree bend, the full 90-degree bends use a lot of room. So just a single curve off uses less room, if that makes sense. But you won't be able to fit as many... Oh no, you won't be able to fit as many deep or something. Anyway, it's slightly different feeling to it in my mind. Not that that makes much sense, but I do feel like maybe I should come up with some actual blueprints for it, encompassing the whole lot and in and out everything. That'd be pretty cool. But on the other hand, laying track is fun, so a bit torn on that one. So it's time to lay out some signals and then to get this train sorted. So I'm all the way back at base now, and it's time to sort out the unloading station for the copper. I think actually this is the wrong way around. One of them is the wrong way around, isn't it? But anyway, we need to sort this out, and it's going to take a fair few resources, and we then have to run everything underground. I might be able to dovetail things just slightly so I can keep clear of the coal, because then I want to run it down in this gap all the way over here and feed into these existing copper lines really, and just take them over with our production. We also need to get a train produced, so I better grab some engines. Where are they? I don't know, do I have any trains in stock? I'll see if I've got any in stock. That's an easy way of doing it as well. If not, please bring me some engines, and then we'll get some cargo wagons up and running. And this will be easily sortable. Just need to be a little bit patient. They are going to bring in all the supplies they need. Just got to sit here and wait a second. Right, well, everything is plumbed in, and I actually am kind of pleased with this. I think it looks industrial in all the best kind of ways. I merged the 8 to 4. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think that is going to just be more than enough copper to handle everything we could ever want here. As you can see, just diverted it around the bits and bobs here. it's time to put in the old locomotive. Where's the right... There's the place it needs to snap to. I will need to think about fuel as well. I hadn't thought of that. But one of the things I can do is set up a... I'll just put that in there for now. I can set up a request to chest now and start requesting... Where is it? Active provider, request a chest. I can start requesting things like solid fuel. And do we have the coverage? Yes, we do. Where are you? Request a chest. Yep. And you're going to request a bit of solid fuel. Maybe always about 10. I think that won't need to be more than that. And then you're going to shove the fuel into the engine. And that should hopefully keep it ticked up. I might bother to set up some kind of solid fuel production somewhere. Put some provider chests out there. So he's kind of the right color for copper already. And what I want to do is add in a, where is it, a copper station on until inventory full, and then followed with a base. Where is it? What have we called this thing? Oh, okay, so base copper. There we go. So then you're going to go to base copper until your inventory is empty. Did that actually get some? Oh, so it did. It really did. Really filled it up. So just go. Let's see if we can join it out there and watch the system nicely working. And look, everything's just so full. I really love it when a base is just brilliantly well stocked, because you get these periods where nothing's working, nothing's stocked, you're waiting for everything, and we're about to enter a world of surplus. Surplus beyond our wildest imaginings. Why are you all so unhappy there? What has happened? Okay, let's go park and see. Okay, so that won't take very long because those are entirely full. Except there is some kind of... Oh my gosh, there was some kind of biter attack here. Everything's being repaired, which is great. But I guess that means we need to set up some kind of biter defenses around here. I'm thinking that should do the trick. Yeah, that seems to be working. Where would they have come from? Straight from over there. Oh, that does make sense, I suppose. Hopefully that will keep them at bay. Maybe a few more over here. Where would be good? It's a bit hard to see when in the night time. Like that. Followed by some of those. Oh, what I've also got to sort out is my generator. So I'm going to take those out, or many of those out. There we go. I'm just going to try and make some room. I'm trying to remember how big this guy is. Oh, he is massive. He is a thick unit, as they say on the internet these days, right? Thick boy. All right, fusion generator. Oh, okay. You really are big. We'll make a bit more room for you. And just leave me alone. Okay. That goes to there. That goes to there. Whoa, look at that. Wow. So we're never going to have any problems with battery power ever again. I'm not going to bother with any of the point defenses. I don't really see them as being entirely necessary for this kind of playthrough right now. But look at all that copper just being smashed into it. Everything is going the right way. Yes, everything's flowing through perfectly. Time to head back to base. Check the copper offload. I mean, that's just a deeply satisfying thing to do. Look, the copper is flowing, except where it isn't, because that's the one that's back to front. I knew one of them was. So we'll fix that up and watch the copper just burning out of the system. And then what we're probably going to have to do is fix up the copper production lines a little, because they're not very well developed. Okay, that was a bit too enthusiastic on the deletion. And there we go. So that's all flowing. Look at it all. It's so great. Compressed reasonably well down here. Filling up the production systems down here. And they are all spitting out a lot of copper. that should be 3 full belts down here. Beautiful. And what I might do actually is I'm just going to put a splitter in here. I suspect that 1 full belt, 1 very full belt here is going to be more than enough. So we're just going to do this, and that will ensure a really loaded belt when it enters this over here. And look, green chip production is now absolutely bananas, and it's only going to pick up more as this top belt loads up further. Do we need any more balancing? No, it looks okay. And further down here, green belts are filling everything up, and science should be roaring through. Red chips are coming out at a pretty reasonable pace. Blue science is, it seems okay. What are these guys waiting for? It looks like they're waiting for green chips, but I don't know if they really are. Almost like these two are fighting. Never mind. We'll do a bit of fixing and see what happens. So we've gone up the research tree a little bit, getting up to Rocketry 5, which is the direct route to getting the rocket silo tech. I've expanded the science lab somewhat, and as you can see here, they're actually starting to chew through quite a bit of science. It's green that is the one that's causing us the most delays right now, and that's because I wasn't very clever about building this. In many ways, I need to emulate what I've done further down the line and give myself a whole separate row so I can build enough of these inserters, for example. So I've massively expanded the red chip production, because that was a little bit of a bottleneck for the other sciences later on, red chips and blue chips. However, wow, green really is suffering. However, there still isn't enough green chip production, and I've kind of hit a wall here where I'm bumping into my own science labs, which is a bit silly. My own silly fault, really. But what I'm going to do is, well, it's one of the reasons I like having 2 whole production trees here is, look, we're just not utilizing, well, we're hardly utilizing anything over here. So I'm going to take a few threads like that, and I'm just going to fold them straight into the lines over here, which means I need to do some clever jumping of stuff. And we're going to go all the way over like this. And you may hear some building in the background. Such is life. Okay, I think that looks alright. It's probably not perfect in terms of distribution, but that is a lot more. Those are a lot more green chips there, so I should expect to see. Yeah, look at that. So the red line is working a lot happier now. I don't know if it'll ever reach 100% contention, but it's not too shabby. And further down here, we're pumping out blue chips at a reasonable pace, and science is coming out, so that's fine. So our rocket silo is coming along, perhaps not as fast as we might otherwise like. I should ask the builder in the background to give me a hand with that, perhaps. He can smash out some more chips for us. So I've had to take a whole another row of green chips. Like, that's a lot of green chips. Just to try and jam enough down this pipe so that we can get enough red chips, so that we can get enough green down here to make our blue chips, so that we can make enough gold science, which it just about is. Look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, almost all. This one sometimes is operating, this one almost never is operating. So we're almost at enough factories, but it's really the blue chips that are a bit of a bottleneck. And I don't know what the perfect ratios would be to get enough science out, but man, you need a lot of green chips. So we're at the ability now to make rocket silos, which is something that, whoa, look at those blue chips that we're going to require, which is something that I do want to crack into. But while we do that, or just before we do that, I'm going to, what else, where are we? I might set up, I don't know, beacons? Could be a good idea. And I think we will look at putting down a satellite system fairly soon. So to build the rocket lab, we have to set up one of these advanced things, and it needs just a ton of everything. So what I'm going to do is just give it all of the potential resources it could need, which are steel, blue chips, pipes, and concrete. I actually don't think we're making concrete anywhere. I actually can't remember how we're making concrete anywhere. I'll have to go have a look in a minute. So here I can see where we were last messing around with concrete and stuff, as far as I can tell. So I don't think we have any system. Some of you who are watching may recall me actually having some. I don't know. So I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way, which is to duplicate everything horrendously. So concrete, thankfully we have a good supply of that here. We have brick here. I'm going to pull in some piped resources from over on the other side, and that resource being water, of course. And this looks like a pretty easy fix, really. I often build concrete sort of further away from my bus or anything, just for convenience's sake. So that's all that's required there. I'll output it to a I don't know, like a passive provider chest, and of course it's not in the network just here. Where is the net? Okay, well, you know what? I do have a spare of these for that reason. So we'll just put that right there, give it some power, and bam. These guys are just gonna fly off and do their job. How much and how quickly is it producing? I feel like I could make a little bit more, so I think we're going to do that. Otherwise we might be here all day waiting for the amount of concrete that this thing requires. So again, concrete. I'll sort that out, and then we'll go check on the progress of the beautiful factory further down below, making our wonderful launch system. Right, well, a few minutes later, I cleared up all of these things as they sucked down all the resources, and we have now got ourselves a launch site. It's beautifully massive, and I'm going to chuck it, I don't know, I'm just going to chuck it right about there, I think. Give it a bit of power, and cancel this construction. And oh, look at all of that. I just collected so much stuff. So I'm just going to put a passive chest down, or a provider chest of some kind. Where are we? Yeah, passive provider chest. Pick that up. And I'm just going to drop all of that in, half of that, and all of that. And yeah, that should clear out my inventory a little bit, so that those could just sit there as useful storage. Now this guy needs rocket control units, structure, and rocket fuel. And you can see that it takes various rocket parts to do that. So it takes a lot of these. And when they're complete, we will have ourselves a rocket to take off. Whew, that's quite a bit of stuff though. So we need one satellite, and that needs a lot of this stuff, low density structure. So copper plate, copper, steel, and plastic bars. I can do that very easily. I'm probably just going to run factories in a dirty way right down here. I'm going to get those set up now. Oh, maybe I'll set one up to one side. Maybe over here. Here would be good. I'm going to get those running in a second, and then you're going to see exactly what I'm doing. Well, we've got our low density structure going in, as well as our, I can't remember what that is, rocket control units, and we have enough stuff in our inventory to make a satellite, which we're going to do now, and I'm just going to clear all of those things out. So we're going to make the one satellite that we launch, because I just want to get this launched. I don't want to do automation of all the satellites. So we're going to need to shove a satellite in. Does it go in here? I can't remember where it goes. I think we do need one though, so that's going to be fine. I think once it's completed its draw of building. Right now what it's really slow on is rocket fuel. So it needs a bunch of rocket fuel, as you'll see here, to do a tick and then to go up 1%. I've got a requester chest here. There is rocket fuel being delivered, but it's taking a little while. I have set up a little rocket fuel manufacturing facility, but rocket fuel takes ages to make. Needs a lot of solid fuel to do it, and so that's why I've got this little system set up here. So it's a little bit dirty, but that's why I've given myself a lot of space. So I've got a bunch of the oil being turned into solid fuel. In fact, it's basically backed up. So I'm using this. I'm using petrol and the light crude or whatever it is, and it's all coming down here. And I've set up a beacon. Now beacons are things that give bonuses. I've got 2 speed module 3s. As you can see, it's covering 8 facilities. You can see it when it highlights, and it's giving them a 70% increase in energy I can't talk. It's on the right hand side. You can read it. Energy speedy uppy. What I also want to do is add modules that will increase the production of this system, but that requires a ton of resources, and I don't exactly have all of them in my inventory right now. I'm making a few more speed modules. I'm going to make this, actually I'm going to cancel that. I'm just going to make the satellite. So I'm making that stuff now. The alarm has sounded. The rocket is ready to launch. It needs a satellite, which I'm going to give it now. Boink. And we are just about to win the game. I'm just going to run over what's happened while you've been waiting, which has been only seconds, but for me it's been a very long time. I have spun out this massive parts warehouse here. It's a little short. Actually, no, it's not. There's green lights all the way along there. That's huge. It is spitting out these rocket parts really well. Speed modules are being spat out there. I like this underground belt method. It's not the smallest. It's very thin. I'm going to use that more often because look, you just slap more on the end as long as you can fit the stuff down the belt, and you can just about give a factory an entire belt just devoted to one chip, green or red. So I like that. Very, very nice and compact. Further up the base, no, the green chips are massive. That's fine. I have also, what else have I done? I have greatly increased the rocket fuel production here. I should have beacons. See, these beacons want to be filled with speed beacons, but are speed modules, but I haven't done it. I don't really think I need to. I just added more manufacturers and that did the job. Here I chucked on a ton more refineries because I noticed that we had a lot of fuel stored up, but we were actually getting a bit low on the various gasoline products. So that's definitely was a good sign for me to get on with the manufacturing. And that helped speed up plastic production, which caught up with red chip and blue chip production and all of that stuff. So that was very nice. I haven't done any science because I wanted to save the resources for other things, and now science is usually backed up, which is also good. That's given more resources for the rocket production. I did a little bit more. What am I making here? Blue chips? Yeah, a little bit more blue chip production. We're short on red chips somewhat, which is a bit of a shame, but that's just part of life. I think it's now time to launch our enormous rocket. We've got all the stuff in it. I could add modules here to make things produce faster, but that's fine. I just have to edit the video. You guys don't notice any time whatsoever. Let's hit launch. Oh, here it is actually going. Here it goes. And the big Rocketeer rocket is taking off. Whoosh! And goodbye. Yay! Goodbye, rocket. Whoosh! And game over thingy me bobby. Brilliant. Game finished. We sent a satellite up, and there are our stats. 28 hours. And with that, the game is finished. Look at all those beautiful kills and rocks destroyed and players killed. I accidentally ran myself over off air. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the series. I've enjoyed playing Factorio for you. Until next time, I've been Tiny Pirate. I hope you'll come and watch some of the other videos I put out. Good night.